Yo, what is going on, guys? We are playing some NHL 17 here in the background, but we're just going to be talking about this expansion draft coming up. Me being a Blue Jackets fan, we got some pretty big news that's coming across here. Maybe some of you guys don't care. Some of you guys want to share your opinions on it, though. It's just like a regular trade here. The Blue Jackets, it's reported, we won't know officially until Wednesday because they can't announce trades until the draft actually happens. But the Blue Jackets are reportedly going to trade a prospect and the 24th overall first round pick this year to the Las Vegas Knights to sort of, how would you want to say, keep them from taking certain players that we have unprotected. And this is a big deal. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter like, oh, the Blue Jackets are idiots and they're stupid or they're on drugs that they would do this. I've got so many reasons why I personally think this is a brilliant deal for the Blue Jackets. First of all, let's think about the draft class. I know every single year people say, oh, the draft class is nothing and all that other stuff. Last year, was one of the few times they're like, oh, it was a deep draft. But we're drafting 24th overall. When you get that far down in the draft, it's pretty much hit or miss, especially in a weak draft. Yeah, there's a couple years you can say, oh, this guy taken 24th turned out to be a pretty solid player. But then you look at years where the 24th player is terrible, the 25th player never makes the league. They come in there and they're bona fide bottom 6 players at best. I know a few years ago, the Rangers got Brady Shea at like 28th or 29th. That was obviously, one of those cases. They did a good job drafting, but that's one pick out of the 6 or 7 that late. It's really, really tough. I know Travis Konechny got picked a couple years ago. I hear some fans of him coming in here and being like, well, that wasn't a bad pick. But it's a big risk compared to a solid keep. Here's the thing with the Blue Jackets. They have a lot, again, people are like, oh, the Blue Jackets, their team's too terrible to be good. Their team sucks too much to get a first-round pick and get rid of it. I don't think people understand, I guess. The Blue Jackets are a really young team. We're not running around with a bunch of old guys we're trying to protect. These are young guys growing that if they're solid now, we expect them to be even better later compared to if you keep that 24th overall draft pick. Like I said, it's a big risk. And the thing with the Blue Jackets, too, is it's looking very, very likely, almost guaranteed, that we're going to have to unprotect Korpisalo, goalie, but more importantly, David Savard and or Jack Johnson are going to have to be unprotected, one or the other. That was our second line D pairing last year and arguably our best defensive D pairing last year. They played very well in the defensive end. Jack Johnson was slumping there for a while. I'm sure David Savard gets overlooked a lot, but I would rather have both of them over this year's 24th overall draft pick based on the way they played last year. And here's the thing, I know people think, oh, it's Korpisalo, who cares? If you're a Blue Jackets fan, I think you understand where I'm coming from when I talk about Korpisalo. If you're not, you're going to think I'm an idiot. But Korpisalo would be, honestly, from what I've seen out of Korpisalo, I think he's going to be a very good goalie in the future. And I think that's a smarter decision to take over a Penguins goalie. Why? The Penguins are more than likely going to take and keep Matt Murray. How old is Marc-Andre Fleury now? I'm not sure, but you got to keep in mind, an expansion team doesn't come into the league and they're best team in the league in the first year. It's going to be a few years until they're playoff contenders. By then, you're talking Fleury's going to have to be, what, 30s, mid-30s at the latest, earliest? And then you talk about Korpisalo, this guy's going to be 26, 27, 28. He's going to be in his prime when this team's ready to be good. And like I said, I think he's going to be a very, very good goalie in the future. And that is, honestly, if I'm a GM, I'm looking, why would you want an older goalie? I know you're thinking, well, Fleury's a guaranteed good right now, but why would you want to take an older goalie when you can take a younger one that's going to be really good? If you think, you have to think that, obviously. You have to think he's going to be really good because you got to realize as the Vegas Golden Knights, they're not going to come in here and be a playoff team the first year. No expansion team does. And that's a big concern for me because I wouldn't want to lose a guy like Korpisalo. So the whole point of this 24th overall pick and a prospect it's almost like an insurance policy to, they already have a protected list, and it's almost like, we'll give you this first overall. It's like a handshake deal. We'll give you this first overall and a prospect if you don't take X and Y on our team, and that protects, Savard and Jack Johnson. It's almost getting as crazy now where there's a lot of rumors saying Ryan Murray's going to be the one they're going to say, if we give you this draft pick, you have to take Ryan Murray off our defense, and I really like Ryan Murray still. I like to give the guy hope. I guess it's because he was our first round draft pick at a point in time, and I still want to hope he, turns it around. But he's been rocking on the third line for the Blue Jackets lately, so it's a tough, competitive Blue Jackets defensive pairing we got going on here. Plus, they've also talked about maybe, making them take a guy like Matt Calvert. And again, I like Matt Calvert, gritty guy, but I'd much rather lose Matt Calvert than David Savard or Jack Johnson or Korpisalo. I'm dead convinced myself. I'm dead convinced that this first round draft pick is irrelevant. The problem with it is it would be nice to still have that one guy to be like, oh, maybe we can find that needle in a haystack here in a weak draft class at 24th and get that good player. But is it worth your gambling versus guaranteed right here? Would you rather be guaranteed this defensive player, Jack Johnson, David Savard, Korpisalo, guys like that, or would you rather gamble to get a guy like David Savard, Jack Johnson, and then keep that draft pick and keep a prospect? Because see, how much is that prospect worth? How much is that draft pick worth? I'd much rather be in this boat because they're going to take a player from the Blue Jackets regardless, so they're still going to lose one, but the weight of losing a guy like Matt Calvert is a lot more replaceable than losing, I would say, a guy like Jack Johnson, David Savard is what I'm trying to get at here. And I know a lot of people don't agree with that. I tried to explain it the best I can right here. I'd like to hear you guys' opinions on it. Like I said, I think it's brilliant. My concern, Blue Jackets, that's our only pick in the first 2 rounds. Is that first overall pick? First round pick. I keep saying first overall. First round pick because we dealt our second round pick for that whole Tortorella signing thing was compensation. So we had to lose that pick. I can't believe you get that much compensation for losing a coach. I'd like to lose our coach every year if that's how it works. But that's what I'm thinking, guys. I'd like to know what you're thinking. As always, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.